Hey everybody, Raven here. Today I'm going to talk to you about junk silver. Now, what is junk silver? What's its importance? And why do people stack it? Well, first of all, for those of you that do not know what junk silver is, that is any 90% silver that was minted by the United States before 1964, so 64 and older, with the exclusion of pretty much peace dollars and Morgans, which those are put in a little bit different category and command a higher premium for the same kind of silver content as you see in these coins here. But what it really refers to and why it's called junk is it's coins that have little to no numismatic value and are strictly traded and bought for the content of silver which is contained within each coin. It roughly takes $1.40 to equal 1 ounce of silver. If you didn't know that, that's a good thing to know because sometimes people will sell you junk silver at spot plus, $5, $6, $7 versus telling you they're doing it 20 times face, 22 times face, wherever the market is currently demanding junk silver be. And there's a really important reason why people collect this, and that is literally one, for the preservation of wealth, and two, if we ever have an economic collapse and the dollar, this dollar right here that you got here, I got a $20 bill example with a really awesome serial number, but if this dollar here loses its value, we would be going back to why to a system of gold and silver for barter, and that's why you'll sometimes commonly hear this coinage being called constitutional silver. Now people use that term kind of loosely because what they're trying to do is give it a different nomenclature than being junk. Some people think that calling it junk is kind of a bad thing when in actuality, using the word constitutional silver, they're referring to the United States Constitution and the original backing of the dollar. It was with gold and silver. That's why you have all the gold and silver coinage that was minted by the United States for gold up until 1933, and for silver all the way up until 1970 was the last, or 69 was the last circulated year. 70 was a 40%, but 65 through 70 for half dollars were 40% silver in the Kennedy series. And we were taken off of, the gold standard, which is something that had stayed around since, the beginning of minting. Coins and silver and whatnot, or currency and coin, was always made out of some type of precious metal: copper, nickel, silver, gold. And that's because those always have an intrinsic value to them. And it was also a thing, again, to be able to say that this half dollar, when you spent it, it was silver. It was worth something. Nowadays, you have clad coins that they're still copper, they still have a value, but the penny is now made out of zinc, which is worth absolutely nothing, and your copper coins, which are dimes and nickels and what have you, they're made up of 95% copper and an alloy mixture, and so one of the reasons it's really important to have, in my opinion, a stack of silver coins, especially in junk silver, is they're highly recognizable, easily tradable. And, if someday we were in that position that we needed to start doing trading for coinage, we could do that as a society, having a bartering system that would actually still allow us to move forward if there was ever an economic meltdown or a natural disaster and supply chains completely stopped. You could barter with local farmers and businesses and whatnot and still conduct commerce via trade. So it's one of those things that, honestly, in my opinion, I keep a nice amount of junk silver on hand. I did a video recently that actually about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, that said, here's the amount of silver that you need to get through a year of bartering. And I can't stress enough the importance of luck favors the prepared. So it's not a fear of missing out or a scare tactic. It's simply just hedging your bet, that maybe sometime you might have to use these for a purpose other than collecting them for, the fun of collecting and stacking silver. Here's another cool point about this kind of silver is if you watch the markets really closely and you buy on the lows and you sell on the highs, you can actually do relatively well investing in junk silver, because there are times where junk silver gets down to 16, 17, 18 times face for selling, and then a month or two, it could even be days later, it jumps up to 24 or 25 times face. We've seen it as high as 30 plus on big dealers like Atmex and whatnot. And when that happens, you can take advantage and sell it and make a nice profit. Now, remember, keep in mind when you're selling to a dealer or you're selling to an online broker like Atmex, JM Bullion, SD Bullion, any of those companies, you're still going to pay. They're going to buy below what the market is at. So if the market's at 20 or at 30, let's just use 30. If the market's at 30 times face, they're going to give you probably 24 or 25. But here's the thing: if you bought it at 17, 18, 19, even 20, at 24 or 25, you're making a really decent profit in a short amount of time. Now, silver isn't a get rich quick scheme kind of thing, because it takes quite a bit for you to make your fortune off silver. If you're going to try to do it that way, you'd have to have quite a bit on hand. But if you're willing to, be able to make some money here and there, anything that's a positive return is good. Anytime that you can turn around and maybe make 25-30% on your investment, you're doing amazing, because if you had traditionally invest into stocks, a really well performing stock is considered about 7.5 to 8% return. So, if you can do that in a short term and you're watching very closely what you're doing, junk silver, aka constitutional silver, is the way to go. If you want to correspond, it's ravenhawkcoins@gmail.com. Our P.O. Box is 721-296, Norman, Oklahoma, 73070. Like always, please make sure to take care of one another, and we'll see you real soon. Ravenhawk Coins, have a great day.